Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm joined by my co-host, Rusty Fender. Rusty,
good to see you, David.
Welcome. We're in the holiday season, and you hear so much about coming home for the holidays. Well, one of the communities here in Lackawanna County is making a special effort to get people home for the holidays.
And it's not Scranton.
It's not Scranton. No, it's not. But anybody from Scranton's welcome to come anyway.
Right.
Beth Ann Zero joins us, and Beth is a member of the Dunmore Pride Committee. And that committee has come up with a program called Home for the Holidays in Bucktown.
Hi, Beth Ann.
Hi.
Now, Beth Ann, this actually is not the first time you're doing this, or it is?
No, this is our third year.
Third year, okay. What prompted it?
A small group of us got together and we were talking about how we missed the activities we used to have in Dunmore. And all of us have a lot of pride in our town. We really enjoy the safety and camaraderie and neighborhoods that we live in. So we got together and we decided to try to put something together for the holidays.
Make it official.
Absolutely. So 3 years ago, we made our first attempt at it, and it went over really well. We had a lot of the businesses in the town and people volunteering and donating to pull together a really nice event for the kids. And that was always the main focus of it, was the family and the kids.
Well, again, Christmas season, a perfect time, and kids come, the families are going to come, you get them in your downtown area. And I must admit that of all the communities in our area, I can think of a few that kind of stand out with having local pride, and you hear a lot from them. And one is Tunkhannock,
Yes,
in Wyoming County. That's certainly the city of Pittston. We know,
yes,
with the growth that it's had down there. But as far as boroughs are concerned, Dunmore is one we hear from now. Part of that has to do with the success of the high school athletes there.
All the time.
They had a pretty darn good record, and that automatically kind of carries through, especially football, into this time of year.
It's a famous sports town, too. Back to Shout Stadium, the original Scranton
That's
Red.
right.
You know,
The Red
people
Sox.
forget about the Red Sox, the Scranton Red Sox. This is back
Played
in
right
the
there
early
at Shouts.
70s. I used to go to all those different games. This is back in the 70s when I first started driving.
Minor
People
league
forget.
baseball
Absolutely.
was here before.
That's correct.
Before the Red Barons or the Rail
At
Riders.
Shout Stadium, the historic Shout Stadium. That's right.
Yeah, we just had a big event at Shout Stadium in September, first vegan festival that we had in NEPA.
How about that?
And there were quite a few people there for that as well.
Dunmore had the first industrial park in the area.
That's correct.
They tied with Valmont and Humboldt, but they had the
Hazelton,
Keystone
yeah.
Industrial Park, Hazelton, back at when Can-Do came around,
Yeah.
as you'd well know, in 1959, David.
Actually,
they had it
yeah.
at the same time, 59, with the Keystone Industrial Park. Very historic town.
Yeah, it is. It's a very historic town, and people who grew up there, they hate to leave. And so many people who do leave, they always look forward to coming back. And that's one of the reasons why we chose Thanksgiving weekend for our event. And we chose the day carefully because everybody is into Black Friday and Small Business Saturday, and we wanted to choose the Sunday because that was going to be the day for the families to spend together rather than going out and shopping.
Right.
But there is
Monday,
still
right in between.
Right, and there's still shopping to do during our event. The small businesses are open. Most of them are offering specials. The different restaurants offering food specials and the bars offering drink specials, even bucket cup coffee. And so we have a lot of different things going on there in addition to the family events.
Yeah, and I think, again, and I mentioned Tunkhannock as far as one of those communities that has its camaraderie and its local pride. It also makes an effort to reach out to other communities and bring people in. And because this is an event that has so many things tied in with it, you do really open up to everybody to come to town.
Absolutely.
And they learn about the community at that point.
They do. They learn what the shops have to offer on an ongoing basis. People who haven't shopped in Dunmore Corners might not realize that we have a place that makes macaroons, and we have a Catholic store, and that we have an art gallery and a yoga studio, and all the other things that we have going on at Dunmore
It's sort
Corners.
of the old-fashioned downtown.
Absolutely. You don't see many towns anymore that are still thriving the way that Dunmore is.
No.
And even businesses that had closed over the last few years, 2 of those 3 that closed over the past year are getting ready to reopen or already reopened.
Wow. Now, let's get down to some specifics. Home for the Holidays at Bucktown is Sunday, November the 26th.
Correct, from
And-
1 to 5 p.m.
It is all centered around Dunmore Corner is the main intersection.
It is, the crossroads of Blakely Street and Drinker Street. Probably one of the busiest intersections in Lackawanna County outside of Scranton itself.
Which is why I have to ask you about, we took a tour bus through there not too long ago on the way to Newark Airport, and it was not easy getting through Dunmore Corners right then because there was a lot of construction going on. So where does that stand?
Well, my business is right in the middle of that
Oh.
construction, so nobody felt it more than I did.
Okay, all
Because
right.
I had it on two sides of me.
Well, they did a lot
And
of
it-
improvements
they
too.
made
With
some-
they cut the sidewalks back for additional lanes. They did a lot of improvements
They
in that
did,
town.
Now
and
you're saying did, so that sounds
it
like
is
it's over.
did. It
Yeah,
is
for the most
past
part,
tense.
it's over.
The bulk of the construction is over.
Okay.
All of our sidewalks are in. Our crosswalks just need to be painted. It's just minor touch-ups now that they have to do to finally wrap
And
that
they
up.
I wanted to get
Well,
that straight.
And they streamlined the area toward the O'Neill Highway. That was the big project up around Burger King and the 81 ramp. So
And they're
that's
still
done.
working at
Yeah,
Burger
yeah,
King this
there's
morning.
a couple things to
So it's
do
a little,
there.
it's a little further away from the corners. But what we do is we do close off 2 blocks of Drinker Street because it's a Sunday we're able to do that. And PennDOT has cooperated all 3 years. And we get to close those 2 years. For the 2 years, those 2 blocks, and we start off with a small parade that involves the kids from the town, the Dunmore Oilers football team, the cheerleaders from the high school will do a song and a dance for us, and then Santa Claus comes in at the end. Bird, our friend, leads
yes.
the parade
Birdman.
with his truck, and he leads the whole parade down the street, and Santa Claus will be riding in a horse-drawn carriage this
nice.
year. And then he spends the afternoon having his picture taken with kids at First National Community Bank in their lobby. Local photographer Rich Bannock donates his time and does pictures with Santa. And Fidelity Bank is letting us use their lobby for a special slime making project for the kids. And the VFW, everybody gets
My
involved.
granddaughter just tried that with my wife the other day. Slime is a big thing.
Is that, I was gonna say, nothing like
You gotta
slime for
make-
the holidays,
You gotta
Dave.
make slime.
I see. I didn't
It's
understand.
very big with the kids.
I didn't know that.
They love it.
Yeah.
They love it. And I have 4 grandkids myself, and they're all
the
looking
joy of having
forward to
kids
it.
these days.
Yeah.
Make-
So my
make-
grandkids are
Mark,
excited
make a note.
about
We got to
it.
get some slime in for Rusty so he understands.
No, don't do me any favors, Dave. Thanks.
I don't even like the
I
name
understand.
of it. But we have a lot of other events going on too. The Little League runs a Santa's Workshop. The kids used to have it at school where they could go and buy inexpensive gifts for their parents and their grandparents. So the Little League offers that for the kids to go and do shopping. We have Mickey and Minnie Mouse coming this year, so kids could have their pictures taken with them. We're going to have an area for vendors as well. This is our first year doing that, where different area vendors are coming in, setting up tents, and then showing their wares as well. So that adds a little extra shopping for the people who aren't shopped out yet.
Sure.
Yeah. And carolers, we're going to have Christmas caroling from St. Mary of Mount Carmel Church, their adult choir. We'll be singing carols, and we're going to have our 3rd annual tree lighting. Every year our tree gets bigger, so that's something exciting for us.
This again is basically the events that they're going to see are basically free to the public that can.
Oh, it is free, yes. Yep, everything is free to the public. And like I said, the businesses themselves offer special deals that day for the people who are coming in and shopping and eating.
Sure. I guess the Thanksgiving holiday is perfect because you do have people coming to town anyway, families getting together.
Yep, that's where our name came from, Home for the Holidays.
Yeah, that's. I think it's a perfect time to have it. The parade starts when?
The parade starts at 1 o'clock.
Okay, now this is not a big, long...
No, it's a very short parade. Like I said, it's the cheerleaders. There's a twirling group that'll be performing, and then the Dunmore Oilers, kids who never got to be in a parade before, get to wave to their parents on the sideline, and then Santa Claus coming in. So it's a very short parade, really only about 20 minutes long, because that's really not the main event.
And for those who don't know actually a lot about Dunmore, it's the northeast corner of basically Scranton, and you're bordered on the north by, it's a very nice area. The Mid-Valley on the north and Green Ridge.
Yeah,
the Green Ridge
Scranton
section.
surrounds half of us.
Yes, it does. That's right.
So it is, you couldn't get closer to Scranton.
Exactly.
So it is close by for everybody, centrally located between 380 and 81. So
Yeah, it's easy access as far as.
Absolutely.
absolutely. Dunmore has two exits, Drinker Street and Blakely Street, and they meet in the middle of town, and that's where all the events
Right.
will be taking place. So it's not hard to find.
Now, Dunmore Pride Committee is something that's an ongoing organization.
We are ongoing. It's just a small group of us. It's only a handful of us who live in the town, who grew up there, who have a lot of pride in our community and wanted to make improvements and bring people together in community and kind of showcase our town.
What's your work like non-Christmas during the year?
We end up helping to advertise different events that are going on more than just promoting them. In the past, we've had coats donated to the town, so we volunteered our afternoon handing out 700 coats to any kids in town who wanted a coat. We help to advertise different events that happen at our community center through the summer with movie nights, and really just trying to keep active in having funds available for the following year. Different events throughout the year, just so we have the funds to be able to do this.
Yeah, how do you raise your money?
It's everybody from the town chipping in. We have some major businesses in our town who have the pride in the town just like we do. So it's approaching them, and every year they have really come through for us in giving us the funds that we need for different events. People sponsoring the carriage rides that we're going to have, because we're going to have carriage rides throughout the day. Santa's going to ride in,
That will be
but
part
then
of-
we'll have carriage rides for that day as well.
Okay.
There's going to be a petting zoo, which is sponsored by other businesses.
Where do you come up with that?
We're bringing them down from the Carbondale area, from Shadowbrook Farm, and DePietro's Pharmacy, and Dempsey's Laundry. There's so many different businesses in our town who are more than happy to help us.
So, petting zoo, face painting, things like that?
Face painting as well, hair glitter. There's going to be balloon artists. So we have a lot of things going on. And another thing that we've done continually, like my business at the Corners is the Wonderstone Gallery, and every year we collect cards for the troops. So one of the events that they did at the VFW for us last year is they sat down and they gave the kids all the supplies they needed to make greeting cards, and then I package them up and I send them to America's Adopt a Soldier, and we end up sending the cards out for them for Christmas time.
Oh, that's a great project. I love that.
So we try to involve everybody. We have collection spots for the toy drops for the area. At my place, we're having a collection for items for the homeless. So, like, Dunmore's a community with a heart, and we do everything we can to help everybody we can.
I think it's a great effort, and this
Absolutely.
Particular Home for the Holidays in Bucktown is certainly a highlight of that. But you did say there's all kinds of other events. You mentioned one in September. You also just kind of casually mentioned movie night.
At our Dunmore Community Center, they sponsor a movie night where the kids get to go and everybody from the town gets to go and watch a movie. And this past year, I remember Sandlot was one of the favorites.
Classic, yeah. And that, where they do that through the summertime then?
They do that through the summer, and they have programs at our community center and a couple other spots throughout town during the summer, like day camps for the kids up at Sherwood Park and up at St. Anthony's Park and at our community center as well.
Are those parks within the community?
Yep, they're all within the town, and you end up with kids from the schools that are helping as camp counselors and things like that, and giving them arts and crafts to do.
Yeah.
So it's still so many ways the town that I grew up in.
It's a feather in your cap that you're making these efforts. But I do want to remind everybody that they're trying to get people from Dunmore literally home for the holidays, but that everybody is welcome to an event like this because you showcase the entire community and perhaps get a chance to promote some of these things that are ongoing throughout. Where do you get, is it the committee that comes up with the programs and the ideas? Do you take suggestions from?
We take suggestions, but for the most part, we're a pretty creative group for a small group, and we reach out to a lot of different ideas. Just from our kids, mostly. Most of us have kids or grandkids, and we kind of go by what they like and what we know they would enjoy and what we would enjoy with them.
Sure.
So last year we had the pony rides, but this year we decided to go for the carriage rides instead so that the rest of us could enjoy it too. I would like to go for a carriage ride myself.
This is free to people that come, but it's it's costly to you to put it on.
It is costly, and we are really grateful for everybody in our town who steps forward and makes donations to make it all possible. We also give out complimentary ornaments to everybody as well. This
Where
will
do
be
they
our
come
third
from?
year, and they come from our fund, and that fund is built up from the donations. All of the generous people in the town who really enjoyed the event, especially after the past 2 years, and they've come to expect it. And we just want to keep making them happy as well as ourselves.
You are lucky to have some big top-name businesses too in town.
Oh,
like
we do.
Dempsey Laundry, which is one of the largest around, is purveyors of the entire uniform and laundry business. So you're very blessed to have those in the area.
We are, and DePietro Pharmacy every year has come through for us as well. And even Lowe's, that is not located in Dunmore, they came through with LED lights for our tree
about that?
this year. So it has extended beyond Dunmore itself. But it's a matter of us going out there and asking the questions and not being afraid to say, hey, could you give us a hand
The
with
way
this?
towns survive, though. I know the town where I'm at in, Duryea, I was born and raised in Old Forge, and people always ask, wow, Old Forge is like this, incredible top name town. It's got all the franchises like McDonald's and Burger King and Dunkin' Donuts and Ace Hardware.
It's known for the pizza.
Exactly,
Yeah.
known for the pizza. You're right. That's just the national restaurants, but the local restaurants. And the folks from town say, there's a lot of money available if you just call and you ask and you fill out the forms for grants and you ask the local business people. You go about it the right way, and it obviously
Right,
pays
and it's
off.
usually the local businesses that we ask,
Sure.
the locally owned ones, not the franchises
Exactly.
so much. And they're the ones who are really profoundly generous to
But-
us year after year.
But it takes some movers and shakers, and there's, we have how many municipalities in Luzerne County? 76, something like
Yes,
that?
over 70, yes.
And how many make special efforts? I wonder how many people remember that at one time, Hazelton, my hometown, had the second largest mummers parade in the United
How about
States.
that?
Oh, my goodness.
Second
Did not
only
know
to
that.
Philly.
How about
Wow.
that?
When I was growing up, that was a mainstay. What happened, I think, was they had probably 2 or maybe even 3 years consecutive with bad weather, and the mummers with all those fancy costumes.
Sure, with the feathers and all
So
that.
that's evolved into another thing that they have now, but there's not as many things as there used to be, and consequently, things like this in Dunmore have become rare. And I tax myself to wonder why more communities don't get involved. Now, I don't mean to compete and to have it necessarily in the same time span or anything, but Tunkhannock scatters its events throughout the year. You apparently do as well, and I assume you're always looking for new things.
Always looking for new things and new ideas and what we can pull together. Throughout the year, though, most of it is trying to get the donations and the funds that we need to keep the tradition going.
And you've weathered it for 3 years. There's obviously an interest in it.
Absolutely. There's absolutely an interest. And we bring live music to the picture, too.
How so?
My friend Dave Brown from the Dishonest Fiddlers, he enjoys coming and playing for us each year. And when the weather's nice, he'll play out on my business sidewalk. If the weather's not so nice, he'll play inside. We also had last year a musician who gives lessons upstairs in my place, Neil Nicastro. He was playing outside too, because it was a nice enough day. As long as it's not raining, it's a
Yeah,
nice enough
yeah.
day. You just have to bundle up to really enjoy it. And I think that's a huge thing, is getting people outside as well. Too many kids are inside on their devices, so
Boy,
let's
they
get them
are, yeah,
outside and get
sure.
some fresh air
Say
for a
that
change,
again.
Sure.
and walk around the town a little bit.
You're right.
And maybe hop into a business you've never been in before, because there are some new businesses on our street, and there's some staples that have been there for as long as I can remember, and then some. Like Kathy Karen's children's store has been there forever, and I remember going in there when I was a little kid.
You hit the nail on the head. I remember going for a ride, I think it was last year. There had been a snowfall, but the roads were okay. But we're driving along, kind of enjoying the snow, and I'm thinking I'm missing something here. And it suddenly dawned on me what was missing was kids out with the sleds with making snowmen. I mean, you still see them occasionally, but not.
Oh, they're all honing their joystick thumb in the, in the house. They're not going to go outside in the snow.
An event like Home for the Holidays at Bucktown, does get the kids and the people out there and get them to walk
That's
around the
right.
streets and see what's available. And sometimes people don't know what's in their own backyard.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Good point. Good point.
So many times you could drive through a neighborhood and never realize that there's a new store on the corner. Even having a business in Dunmore for 4 years now, there's people who come in and say, I've been meaning to come in here since you opened. And it's like, it's been 4 years now. It's
Yeah.
about time.
Yeah.
So welcome for finally making your way in. And it's the same thing with other businesses on the street. We have businesses that just opened up last year that I haven't even been in yet because I'm too busy working in mine.
Your own, sure.
Right. So what really keeps this going is, and how other businesses in other areas can do it, is just to find a core group of people who are passionate about their town, who are passionate about their area, and want other people to appreciate it and enjoy it and see what it is about their town that they're proud
A
of.
really good gauge is I always compare the people on the street, like we mentioned Pittston before, and Dunmore is one of those places as well. I remember for years and years, I don't think it's still open, but the Dunmore Candy Kitchen.
Still open.
Still open, okay.
Still open.
That is
Just
like,
remodeled,
see,
so
that-
they're not
no
going
wonder.
anywhere.
See, that's, I mean, you know, from legendary, from a 3-county radius,
Yeah,
the Dunmore
it's
Candy
well-known,
Kitchen.
well-known,
and so many
yes.
folks on that stretch of Drinker Street the first couple of blocks.
Right.
So amazing,
Yeah,
you know?
and they're going to have specials that day as well. They're one of our sponsors, and they're one of our businesses.
always think of them
who will be
first, the Dunmore
participating
Candy
with
Kitchen,
with
yep.
a nice sale that day. I believe it's 25% off
How about that?
everything that day.
And this year may be a key in the sense that, you know, I kind of was lighthearted about the construction that was going on in that area. But the fact of the matter is, a project like that, which ultimately leads to something very good, when it's happening, can have devastating effects to a small community.
Absolutely.
Oh,
downtown.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
You want to
We all felt the
bypass
pinch.
it. Absolutely.
And there were people who, I mean, it's hard to avoid Dunmore, but a lot of people were the best that they could. Maybe staying on 81 a little extra and getting off a different exit than they normally would. But now that that construction is over, this is like a celebration for the whole town.
Sure.
Having our sidewalks open, having our street open, except for that one day at least, just for the safety of everybody who's coming to the event. And celebrating, because the sidewalks are beautiful. The crosswalks are going to be beautiful once they're finished, because it was a dangerous corner there.
Yeah.
Yes, it was,
And
yes.
I see you're going to top things off for the afternoon with the tree.
The tree lighting. Every year our tree's been getting bigger and bigger, and we have a secret donor who loves to give us our Christmas tree each year. So this year it's going to be lit with the lights that were donated from Lowe's, some LED lights. And at 4:30 we'll be having Santa light up the tree for us again.
And then he'll stick around for the
Well,
pictures.
He'll be there all afternoon for the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, so once he's done with getting his picture taken, he'll come and he'll light the tree for us.
All right. Let's recap again real quickly. We're going to start the day with the parade, and that's at 1 o'clock. And where does that run?
That runs from Golden's funeral home. I want to say Carlucci Golden DeSantis Funeral
And
Home.
what streets are you on there?
That is on Drinker Street.
Okay.
That's about the 300 block of Drinker Street.
So now you will have a detour around your, I mean, again, that's a main hub.
It is a main
Okay, so
hub,
you've got
but
a
there's
detour
also
around
Harper
it.
Street that will be open that leads down to the post office from Drinker Street.
Okay.
So you could still get through Dunmore.
And then North Apple runs parallel to
Correct.
Blakely.
And Blakely
Apple.
Street is still
That's
open
correct.
as well.
And you'll have the police directing around that
Everything
area,
will be
right?
directed,
Right,
yep. The
okay.
road will be closed by PennDOT earlier that day, and then you'll still be able to get through Dunmore via Blakely Street and Harper Street. So we're not closing off the artery, just kind of putting it to the side for a little while.
Just so you have the festivities there.
Right.
So parade at 1 o'clock.
Correct.
All right, then Dunmore High School cheerleaders and
Sherry's Royalettes, they are a twirling group who will be performing for us as well. And then later on in the afternoon, the St. Mary of Mount Carmel Adult Choir will be doing some caroling for us going into the tree lighting. Those are the main events. We also have a DJ that'll be playing music and making announcements throughout the day. We'll have a little vendor village right off to the side on Drinker Street as well. and all the businesses that will be open.
Lots of luck. You apparently have the work behind you, and getting it going is the toughest first couple of formidable years. So at least, at least you're over the hump on this deal.
The first year was definitely the
no
hardest
doubt.
because we had no idea where to start because
doubt.
none of us had ever done anything
Sure.
like this
Sure.
before. So now it's a little bit easier each year
Absolutely.
to make the initial plans, but still having to get out there and speak to sponsors and get the sponsorship that we need so that we can
And when
offer
the
these
word's
different
out,
events.
you don't have to explain for the first year what you're doing ad nauseum on this is Dunmore calling, and we're trying now. At least people have the word out so they know that maybe they can expect a call from you in the later years.
Right. So now it's like, oh, we were hoping you were doing that again, and we were waiting to hear from you.
That's good.
Don't
And,
get confused by the title "Home for the Holidays" in Bucktown. Bucktown is Dunmore.
Right.
So
That's right.
when you see that's where you're gonna.
We
that's
are
where you're
proud
gonna
of
be.
our Bucks.
No
Yes,
doubt.
yes.
No doubt.
Well, I just a great hometown activity. I can see potential here for even future expansion. If you're that established, and again, 3 years in now, the future may bring even more. And I'd love to see this catch on with a few more of the smaller
You bet.
communities around and realize we still have gold in our communities and in our downtowns. And sometimes we let it get tarnished by ignoring it a little too much.
Right.
So good for you guys for shining it up
Yeah.
in
Thank
Bucktown
you.
and
Good luck, Beth
and
Ann.
Dunmore.
Yeah, and we're not in it alone. Dunmore Rotary's involved. The borough itself is involved. Council gives out hot chocolate for the day, which is provided by yet another sponsor. And the Rotary Club donates stockings each year for Santa to give to the kids. And a lot of other businesses will show up and they'll hand out balloons and things like that throughout the day. So like everybody really does pitch in and get involved with it.
That's great. Well, if you're going to be around for Thanksgiving in your hometown anyway, head over to Dunmore Sunday, November the 26th, starting at 1 o'clock, and enjoy Home for the Holidays in Bucktown. And Beth, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Well,
Thank you for having me.
We hadn't heard about this for the first two, so now everybody has heard about it. We're ahead of the game now. Rusty Fender, thank you so much.
See you
for
in
joining us.
Bucktown.
Indeed. And Mark
Thanks,
Glory,
Mark.
thanks for all the technical work you do on that end of our program. I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV Live. Until we see you again next week, here's hoping all your news is good.